Welcome, friends of the show. We are back with another episode of the Ferris Wheel Serious Rock Talk podcast.
Ooh, all right.
A big thanks for your emails, suggestions, and your support on our social media platforms. Continue to email us at seriousrocktalk@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Listen to a new show every week. Just tune in each Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. New York City time on Cap City Beats, located at www.capcitybeats.ca. Okay, buckle up for some serious rock talk. So what are we going to do today, gents?
I think we're going to go to bed, put some makeup on. No, I'm sorry.
Woke up, get out of bed, drag the comb across my head.
And we're not paying royalties for that, so back off.
So what we're going to do today is talk about some classic rock masterpieces, Ian, right? Some of them you looked at them, you're like, okay.
We did say classic rock, too.
Yeah, we did. So I'm just going to motor along and just move on in. By the way, my name is Kennedy. To the left of me is Dr. Clarke, and to the right of me is Stephen Wheeler. And here we go. So alphabetically,
Okay.
I believe,
All right.
they got AC/DC Back in Black. Quickly recovering from the death of Bon Scott in early 1980, Brian Johnson comes in and does this masterpiece
I
with
know, it's weird.
AC/DC.
Was that his first one, eh?
That is his first one.
Okay.
And he had said that when he went there, he had a garage shop, by the way. He was a mechanic.
I know.
It was
It's weird, eh?
Yeah, very weird. So AC/DC Back in Black, I have it on vinyl.
And it's probably one of the best debut album for a singer ever when you think about it.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's a good point.
The second one that's considered a masterpiece, and I'm not going to argue with it because I agree 100%, is Bryan Adams' album Reckless, which was 1984. And even though he came out with a good album previously called Cuts Like a Knife, this one actually is better. And it is a classic rock masterpiece. I had this on vinyl twice, on CD once, and on cassette once.
Is every song strong?
All the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
I love that album
Okay.
from start to finish. Next one, Ian.
Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. Yeah, in previous shows we've discussed what is the best Aerosmith album, and I think it's Toys in the Attic. What do you guys think?
It has to be their best one. I think it was one of their debut albums earlier on.
It was
is it
super
the-
early.
Yeah, super early.
73,
Something like
Is
that.
it that early? You're kidding.
73, I believe.
Whoa.
I have it on. It's sad to say I have it on vinyl. Actually, no. Suffice to say, I have it on vinyl.
Yeah, I know that. I think
What don't you have on vinyl?
Uh,
No. I'm just
the next one I don't have on vinyl.
Yeah.
So it's a good album,
Okay.
and I think everything else until Run DMC revived their career.
Yeah, I think it's
know.
the last great album of the phase one. Let's call it that.
The next one,
Yeah.
Ian, I don't have this album, but you know about it.
Jimmy Carter and I know about it. Aerosmith. No, it's Allman Brothers live at the Fillmore East, in New York, Bill Graham's place. Yeah, this is super. It's an influential album, and it's a classic album. They're such good musicians. If you want to hear great rock musicians live, get the album.
And it's also, for those of you who want to test your systems at home, it is a great test
yeah.
record.
For
Because
a
it never
live
sounds...
album.
Yeah, for a live album.
It's insane. It shouldn't have, one of those albums that shouldn't have happened. Next up, we have the band's second album, simply called The Band.
Was it their second?
Yeah, the first one, I think it was music from the Big Pink.
I think you're right.
And this album I have, and it sure impacted me. It is strong. Every song, Robbie Robertson got just like a bolt of genius lightning. It's great.
I have this album on vinyl. I have it was the 50-year reissue.
Is it really? Eh?
That's what I have. This
Nice.
one here, I have it twice.
Okay, that was.
But you can have it 3 or 4 times. It's
That
so
is
good.
The Beatles' Revolver. Some people claim this to be, it's opinion, their best album.
Abbey Road is their best.
That's what I think. But a lot of people, who, probably to be a little bit controversial, go to Revolver.
What do you think, Ian? Is it a good choice, or is it just a safe choice?
It's a controversial choice. If for real Beatles aficionados, they often go for Revolver.
What about Rubber Soul?
Yeah, they could go for that. But this Revolver is strong with the Klaus Voormann art in the front.
All right. So next on the list, we have one of the albums that Ian, I'm sure, has in his repertoire.
I do. Yeah, Jeff Beck, Truth. The Jeff Beck Band. Yeah. This is really early. This is, 68, it says in my notes here. With a little-known singer named, I can't even think of it. I think it's Rod Stewart. And with Ronnie Wood doing some guitar. It's not personally my favorite Beck album. It's probably Blow by Blow. But again, every song is strong, which is why it's on this list, folks.
The next one is Stephen Wheeler's personal favorite. I'm almost positive. I do have this on vinyl, and it is heavy as hell. It's more than 180 grams.
Right. And it's heavy in every sense of the word. Yeah, it's the second album by the band, and their more important one. It shaped the sound that defined their career, the heavy riffs, the rhythms that were like doomy, gloomy, and basically like the amazing voice of Ozzy Osbourne when he had full control of his faculties.
I just wish Ozzy would do some sort of like Barry Manilow rendition. So that'd be all right. The next one is Bon Jovi.
Oh, your friend.
That's it. Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. This album here is also known from the big hair in the 80s synths that made their first two albums so forgettable. They finally struck gold with number 3. And what is there left to say? But this album here has the one which is Living on a Prayer, and everyone loves that song.
Yeah, it's an
It
anthem.
is a good album, and obviously the boys from Jersey gave it justice.
Next up, we have an album named after, I don't know, maybe the band, called Boston, and their album is called Boston. And it was everywhere. The flying saucer thing. It was just hugely influential. It's strong, amazing production, like for the time, outstanding.
I have this one on picture disc and on vinyl,
Oh, that's
Nice.
interesting.
and then I have this one here on vinyl.
And he's referring to David Bowie, the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, and the Speeders from Mars.
Speeders.
They're incredible. This album, there is not a weak song. I think it's 72, if I'm right. This album,
50 years already.
Yeah, so it's been reissued, of course, for like $50 or something. But it's
Oh, it's for the 50 years.
Every
Nice,
dollar, a
nice.
dollar a year.
nice. I remember it was released. It was like $7.99. Anyway, it was an amazing album, and it made David Bowie's career. That says something.
I actually want to get the album with David Bowie and Bob Newhart or Bing Crosby when they sing.
Oh, Little
it's
Drummer
Little
Boy.
Drummer Boy.
Yeah, that's.
This is an album that Ian likes.
Listen, I had this on vinyl. I think I threw it against a wall one day. But we're talking with the Cars with their debut album. Rick Ocasek at the helm there. And everybody had this album. It was an AM and an FM hit, as they said in the day. It's a great album, their first release.
It's filled with energy.
Yeah, sure.
This album here, their song "I Want You to Want Me" is better live than their studio version. Their studio
true.
version sounds country,
Yeah,
That's
it's
true,
a very
yeah.
good point. It's
and
better.
it's not strong. It's weak, and he never got credit for the most famous words of in rock history at a live concert. Whereas "I want you to want me."
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
there's something going on with that.
So
Yeah.
the album we're referring to is Cheap Trick at Budokan, just so you know.
Yeah, really. And also, after they appeared at Budokan, and so did Bob Dylan, like, it became a thing to do in the 70s.
Yeah, because isn't Budokan originally just an Olympic...
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, so no really good acoustics
It
there.
sounds cool.
This album here, Ian and I argued to keep it on the list. He won.
We're talking about Chicago's, I think is the first album, right?
Yeah, the Chicago Transit Authority.
It was, that was the original name of the group, by the way, Chicago Transit Authority, later shortened to Chicago. And it was kind of influential. They used a lot of horns, as you know. And it's kind of like Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It was kind of a next step for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, that type of meter. And it's a great album. There's not a weak song on it.
I think it's because I listened to so much of it on classic vinyl.
Probably.
The next one that we got coming up is, The
wow.
Clash, London Calling. And there's a little history on this one here. The bassist, when he smashes guitar, at that live event, he ended up breaking his watch. And the time that it broke was exactly at 10:50 p.m.
Cool trivia.
That was something that they just announced recently on the radio because the anniversary, I guess, is coming up on this.
But London Calling, folks, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the cover, but it is one of the, I forget the name of the photographer. I did know at one point. It is worthy of a poster. I mean, it's talking about the spirit of rock and roll, and the colors they used on the cover with the pink and the green were purposely done to pay homage to Elvis Presley's first album.
It was the photographer's a lady. I forget her name because they just mentioned it, and he gave her, the bassist gave her the watch.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's nice.
That he broke because he figured, well, what the hell? Why does he need it? Right? It's broken.
That's great. It's just going for it.
So the next one.
We're going to talk about Alice Cooper, Killer. This is influential, and he had some hits off of that. The big thing about this album, though, is that Killer album is it introduced Alice Cooper to the mainstream. A lot of people bought Killer. It's just, it wasn't obscure, you know. Vince Fournier came into his own.
The next one we got, this one here you can't go
wrong, really.
with
Cosmo.
Cream.
Cream.
Disraeli Gears. Disraeli Gears, I would argue, is Cream's, and I'm not allowed to choose from, but it's
True.
But it's their best album, right? You know what I mean? They weren't It's not exactly Bob Dylan here. They weren't that prolific.
Yeah, so it's the one with Strange Brew and Sunshine of Your Love.
The next one definitely needs to be mentioned, and it's Cosmo's Factory by CCR, better known as John Fogerty. Yeah. And this one here was released. This is the 1970, actually. Came after where they had a small break. And this is where they had looking out my back door.
Yeah, every song is strong. It's a freakish album that way.
And didn't they just re-record it with Fogerty's children?
Yeah, it's called, was it Fogerty's Family Factory? That's what it goes by.
Right. Nice.
Okay.
The FF.
As a friend, John. As a friend, John, it's over. As a friend.
This is an album that Ian smashed about 3 times over because
we're talking about Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. Deja Vu.
It's not the one with Sweet Judy Blue Eye, is it?
No, it's okay.
It's the Hawaii one?
I would debate this one. I think they have a stronger album than this, but anyway, this got a lot of play at the time. It's the one where they're all dressed in faux Civil War outfits. I don't know.
You know, David Crosby turned 81 not too long ago.
Oh my God.
Nobody thought he would get past 40, I think.
No. Well, you've had 4 new livers in you. I guess you can do anything.
This is a good album. Deep Purple, Machine Head.
Machine Head. Every song is strong. Highly recommend.
I like that. I got a girl from Tokyo.
Which is fascinating because you consider it's their 5th album in 4 years.
No, they were hard. There still are a hard-working band. Ian Gillan and the boys, right?
Richie Blackmore.
Ian Pace on drums. He's still with them.
They're still going?
Yeah, they still tour. Well,
so the next one we have Hysteria by Def Leppard. It is probably one of my favorites because it's the time I grew up in. Obviously, they were produced by one of the most, the biggest legend in
somebody's husband.
Yeah, Shania Twain's former husband, Mutt Lange. So this is actually the album to follow up when after Rick Allen had his car accident. And unfortunately, had to amputate the drummer's arm, and he basically reinvented himself.
Exactly.
And they came out with this album here of Hysteria, and it is a kick-ass album.
Their best, I think.
So the next album that we have here is very popular in Newfoundland.
Holy Diver.
Oh, Holy Diver. You stepped in my foot. What's your problem, Bussy?
Holy Diver.
Kick-ass cover.
We're talking about a guy named something Ronnie James Dio
with
I'm
vocals that just raise the paint off your walls if you put it at right volume.
Oh, and that isn't compared to Rush.
But do you think it's because when he was in Newfoundland, that's where he got the concept, the name of the album? Holy
Diver, did you fall in the water there already? Okay, no way, pal. Take it easy. Okay, I think quite it could be.
A good album, Ian?
Outstanding.
Dire Straits.
Dire Straits is their, I believe this is the first album we're looking at here, folks. And
the self-titled.
introduced that Mark Knopfler sound, that plucky sound he uses, and it's every song is good. Sultans of Swing is on. Yeah, it's a great album.
The
Next.
Doobie Brothers, The Captain and Me. No?
No, we're gonna let that one out. The Doors, their first album is often referred to as among the best first albums of any rock band in the history of the world. So yeah, it's every song is strong, from the beginning to the end. Not kidding.
Nice.
Nice, thank you.
When I bought that album, I said to Ian, which Doors album should I get? Oh, the first one. What's it called? The Doors. Blonde on Blonde, it's a classic. I'm not familiar with it. Ian,
Blonde on Blonde.
You are familiar?
Everything's on. Blonde on Blonde is one of those, I won't mention the other two. You can look it up. Dylan, during this period in the 60s, released 3 classics in a row. He was like this creative volcano. And Blonde on Blonde is an amazing album.
All right.
It's a masterpiece.
This is probably my favorite Eagles album.
No kidding.
Wake up to the Hotel California. Such a lovely face. Such a lovely place.
And it's probably the album everybody have.
Yeah, really?
If they have an Eagles album at home.
They're touring it, right?
I'm going to the concert. I'm so jacked. And at the end of the day, I will come back with a T-shirt that's going to say Hotel California.
But you're going to pay $48 for it. So.
No, I'll get it off Amazon.
Okay.
The next one we have here is Wheeler's favorite, which is Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, called Tarkus. At first, I thought it was Taurus, but go ahead, Wheels.
Yeah, no, not my favorite. But it is one of the most influential ones. The side one is made up of 20-minute title track, which, let's face it, that's pretty good. Side 2 is a collection of shorter songs, although shorter songs when the first one is 20 minutes is up to you to guess what the length of a song. At that point, it is a revolutionary album, but in my mind, not necessarily their best.
I agree with that.
Next one. Sorry, you're going to continue on that one?
No. I agree. I think Brain Saddle is their best, but anyway.
Next one I got here is Fleetwood Mac Tabarnak Rumors.
Never heard of it.
The whole, they didn't have the Tabarnak. That was just the Quebec, the Quebec reissue.
That's depressing. Yeah.
The Quebec
That's
pressing is depressing. But the album itself, Rumors, was specifically named that because of all the rumors going around with the band of who's dating who's hooking up with who. Heck, Stevie Nicks, why not?
Yeah, out of this cacophony of unhappiness and despair came one of the best pop albums of all time. Oh, God, what you have to do for art.
The next album, I have it. Ian, you have it.
Okay, the next album here is called Frampton Comes Alive. I know everyone's tired of it. It was played too much. He won all these Grammys. I know. But if you can force yourself to listen to it with virgin ears, as they say, it is a pretty good live album. By the way, biggest selling live album of all time.
Still to this day?
Yep, live album to this day.
The next one is Peter Gabriel. Wheels, go ahead, take it because you're a Genesis guy.
Yeah, so this is Peter Gabriel's reinvention to a certain degree.
Yeah,
he
really.
had a few albums before this as a solo artist. They were very proggish still. So is basically Peter Gabriel becoming something else.
This weird R&B singer or something.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And Sledgehammer is basically one of the anthem of the 80s.
It's also a cover that Dave Matthews does on his live performance. I just thought I'd share that little tidbit of information.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Wheels, go ahead again with this one.
So Genesis, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, their most concept album, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the one where Peter Gabriel said, okay, I'm done with this.
That was his, right?
Yeah.
The last one.
And it's still very good, but to my mind, not necessarily the best Genesis to start with.
Okay, interesting.
Next one is Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. I love this album, and I love the quote here. Rock and roll needed a kick in the ass in the late 80s, and Guns N' Roses delivered it from start to finish with Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine, Night Train, Michelle, Mr. Brownstone. I'm telling you, this album from start to finish is probably the best album. I also do think their follow-up album, Lies, is slightly better because it's a different type of music that they put in there. But needless to say, this is an album that you put on when you want to go to the gym. This is an album you put on when you want to start drag racing and racing people in your cars. This is an album that you want to go to a senior's home and give them laughs and help them out. They'll love this album, believe me.
Last rites, too.
That's
they want
it.
to have heart
So-
seizures.
Especially with the cover.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
And the next one is Ian's favorite album of
please.
George Harrison, All Things Must
Oh,
Pass.
this is
three
three-
vinyls.
This is three vinyls of your life you will never get back. I mean, I don't know why he punished people this way. I know it was in your face. I'm a composer too, not just John and Paul. Yeah, okay, but to do 3 of them is punishing. So don't, folks. I guess it's a classic. I'll let it go because I'm a nice guy.
Ian, Heart, Little Queen.
Yeah, this is a great album. On this, I wish we could talk more about. I'm not going to even use the term girls bands or female bands, but the period of rock we're looking at here is mostly male driven. This is the way it was. Not so much anymore. Thank you, and thankfully. But the Wilson sisters and Heart did a great job, and I think overall, pound for pound, it's their best album.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of women.
Janis Joplin, Pearl. Ian, I think you have this one.
Oh, wow. This is a great album, and it's kind of sad. It's a posthumous album produced by Paul Rothschild, former producer of The Doors at that point. And they were a couple. And, she passed away almost before the album was finished. He didn't quite have time to add a final vocal. It's a great album, Pearl.
And Rothschild, he's got the Rothschild Winery. Is that him?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not for him.
Next album, I would argue and say is probably Hendrix's best and only album, which would be Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? Ian, what do you think about this album?
Not quite the only one, but I would say it kind of... it's the template for Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the feedback, the kind of cosmic songs. Yeah.
Rebel Yell by Billy Idol. Stephen Wheeler, would you go on and let us know what you think about that album?
Really good. Very 1980s.
Super 80s.
Super 80s. Idol here found his voice. It's pushing away from the pop punk he was doing before. And if you're a Gen X, it's probably on the soundtrack of your life kind of situation.
Yeah.
And if you're a Gen X, the next album will definitely be on the soundtrack of your life, which is Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast, from start to finish, with Run Through the Hills, Number of the Beast. This is metal at its finest. I think Iron Maiden pretty well solidified their career with this album alone. If you listen to Maiden's later stuff, it gets a little bit more longer and it just starts draining itself out. Okay, I get it. You guys are musicians. You could play. But Number of the Beast, from track to track, start to finish, pound for pound, probably one of the best metal albums out there.
And you heard it here, folks.
That's right. Next one is an album that Ian enjoys the most, which is Surrealistic Pillow by Jefferson Airplane. And Grace Slick is actually smiling on the cover of this
You're
album.
kidding. Usually she's just like, I don't know, she stepped on a nail or something. She's not happy. This has her 2 big hits on it. This is from 1967, by the way.
Somebody to Love and White Rabbit.
That's it. And it's a great album, both sides. And as trivia, one of Hunter Thompson, the writer's finest favorite albums.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great album. I have it on vinyl.
Ian, the album that we've talked about a lot from seasons 2 all the way up until 5 was Aqualung by Jethro Tull.
Well, the reason we did is because of the romantic lyric, snot running down his nose. Yeah, it was Aqualung, listen, is a hugely influential album. It's kind of like a Dylan thing. It was a social comment, and anti-religion, anti-capitalist. The leader of the band, Ian Anderson, really went ape. And it's a great, listen, every song is really good, whether you agree with the guy or not.
He plays the skin flute on that album. Then
May have to edit that one.
next one you have is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John.
And Dua Lipa. No, it's by...
I think Dua Lipa was not even a glimmer in her dad's
Dua
eyes
Lipa's
at the point.
father wasn't
Born, yeah, probably.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
This is a incredible
Double
album.
vinyl.
It's a double album. Every song is really good. Some are amazing, like Candle in the Wind or whatever. But everything is really strong. I was quite young. I got it when it came out.
Goodbye Norma Jean, change it to Goodbye England's Rose. Well, it's true, he redid it.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
I know.
Why? I don't know. Ian, we debated on this one, and we decided that we were going to keep it on the list.
Which one is it?
Escape by Journey. Was it really their best one?
I didn't know. I was relying on your opinion more about Journey.
It's got Don't Stop Believing, so...
Yeah.
Which is probably the one song everybody knows of Journey.
Journey. Okay, I'll leave it on.
We'll leave it on. All right. It's a good album. Next one, out of respect, they've just been inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Judas Priest, British Steel.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean,
Well, it's more Wheels' wheelhouse. He likes this kind of stuff. He likes Judas Priest.
Yeah, not as much as other metal band from the era, but I have to say, very interesting sound. It, to a certain extent, is the gateway between the more rockish metal of Black Sabbath and the heavier stuff that's coming in the 80s, later in the 80s.
okay.
So the next one, Wheels, Carry On, My Wayward Son, Kansas Leftoverture.
Yes, so, I mean, like you said, Carry On, Wayward Son, an anthem, I think, in a great deal of the world, especially in the sound, magnum opus. This is Kansas at their best, but also at their most... yeah, let's put it that way.
I know.
Like an 8-minute piece.
I know, it's a little indulgent.
It is indulgent. And not everybody's Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah, well put.
Wheels, I got you this one for your birthday last year.
True. King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King.
And it's a heavy album.
It is a very heavy album in every sense of the word.
The thing weighed like 10 pounds.
It's a debut album. It's probably one of the best debut albums of any
that
band.
was their first, was it?
It was.
I didn't know
The
that.
guy screaming on the cover there.
Yeah, and from the get-go, you see what prog is going to bring, including the overstuffed 12-minute 2-part Moonchild. You have to remember...
Oh, that is so proggy. Eh?
Yeah, and you have to remember,
This
like
is
a
ridiculous.
vinyl record is, if you're pushing it, 20 minutes. 30 minutes.
30 if you're poor. It's incredible. That's
if you're really pushing
that's a
it.
K-tel.
Like at the K-tel, it's 30 minutes. If you want a really good sound, it's 15 minutes or less per
Yeah.
side. These guys were really pushing it.
Okay.
But they captured everybody's attention and they launched prog rock.
Yeah.
The Kinks, Ian, this one here's a very good album. I actually have this one on CD.
Oh, really?
And it's the Kinks. The Kinks are the Village Green
Preservation Society. Yeah,
yes.
that was... you will still hear that reference. A few guys got in trouble. I forget the name of it's a big band, but they sampled... Oh, Green Day sampled some stuff, a riff off of that album, and didn't properly acknowledge, and they had to. So it was a little kerfuffle. It was a big... I'll say it's a concept album, and every song is interesting. Yeah, Ray Davies did a great job.
Next album is actually probably one of my favorite albums, Led Zeppelin 4, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, as you heard in previous shows, they are, to me, the most iconic #1 rock band of all time. Needless to say, if I had to choose an order of albums I like the most of Led Zeppelin, 4 has to probably fall in there, so it's probably going to be 2, 4, Houses of the Holy, then #1. That's how I'm going to do my ranking. I like Houses of the Holy. I don't think it got enough recognition. But this year, Led Zeppelin 4, I like Jimmy Page, as he said in an interview, we had to make up for what we did in #3 because apparently #3 did not get that much good ratings.
No, they panicked a bit because of that.
It did, but this one here has got, like everyone knows, it got Stairway to Heaven. It's an iconic album. It's, I don't know, they made up for 3. You could just go 1, 2, skip 3, but you kind of need 3 to get the 4.
I admire 3 because it's mostly acoustic. When considering where they were coming from, that was going out of left field.
Yeah.
It didn't pan out, but you have to admire
Good
it.
point.
This is an album that Ian regrets buying, but he bought it anyways.
Which one's that?
John Lennon, Plastic Ono.
Hey, listen, that's I think Lennon's best album. It was the first one out of the gate. and that's the one he's sitting in the park with Yoko leaning against a tree, and the Plastic Ono Band. A lot of good stuff on that. I just think it wasn't so overproduced. Later on, he almost relied too much on production.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, pronounce Lynyrd Skynyrd.
I know, again, kind of a goofy. Anyway, it's by the way, trivia there. I think Lynyrd Skynyrd was the name of their janitor at someone's high school.
I heard it was either one of their gym teachers or
something like that.
Something like that. And it's kind of just sidebar. It's also where Pink Floyd came up with their name, where it was something Floyd and another.
Yeah, there were two musicians.
Yeah.
So interesting how this concept came about. I think the story was when I got from my dad, he said it was either a chemistry teacher or a phys ed teacher, but it was someone that knocked on them saying they weren't going to accomplish much in life.
That's really great. He used his name.
That sounds like PE, like a physical education teacher.
Yeah.
You know, well, I don't know. My phys ed teachers were
to get
great.
back to the album. That's a good album. It's strong. It gives Southern rock its name.
This one here, I actually enjoy this album.
We're talking about Paul McCartney Band on the Run. I'm sorry, Run.
It is a very good album. I still believe that if the Beatles would have been together at that time, this would have been another Beatles album.
It's very Beatles-ish, yeah.
And then,
it would have sounded better, though.
Yeah, because you would have had John in there. You would have had, Ringo and, George.
Jeff Lynne.
Jeff Lynne would have came in
He would have helped produce it anyway.
Billy Preston would have came in there.
And Pete Best could have helped out.
Pete Best could have came in for an extra drummer.
Clapton could have done some guitar riffs.
But no, honestly, people always argue and say, listen, if the Beatles didn't break up and they would have continued, Band on the Run would have been another album that the Beatles produced.
Well, I'll go on record and say it's Paul McCartney's best album.
I agree, yeah.
Pipes of Peace?
Oh, yeah, or London Calling, whatever it was. No, London Town, that was it. Oh, man.
So that one's a good one. Next one is Bat Out of Hell, Side B.
I know. By the late, great Meatloaf. That's what his mother called him, Meatloaf. No. I pronounced the Meatloaf, the priest thing. This is a really good album. We're talking about Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell.
Theatrical at its best.
It is.
Yeah.
Jim Steinem does a great job writing. I think it's produced by Todd Rundgren. A and B sides. It's a strong album. Has everything on it. It's fun too.
Plus the cover made like parents all over the U.S. just go something bat something.
But the other thing is that they said that do you give the wolf your throat? Yes, that whole theatrical stuff.
It's great, eh?
It's
fun.
interesting, and you could tell it's from he was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, so he
sure
was known
was.
for theatrical. So the next
Good
one on the
point.
list, we have actually John Mellencamp, Scarecrow. I actually have this album, and I actually have the Meatloaf album and the Band on the Run album. I have a lot of these bloody albums, and this is why my spouse yells at me for not having any space in the house.
Oh,
But
not understanding.
Scarecrow is probably one of Mellencamp's. It's one of his better albums, I guess. It was okay. I don't know why I'm even commenting on it. Actually, no, I don't even like it. I like Aha better.
There you go.
There you go. But you know what? I got to respect him. He's on there. This one here, Wheeler, I'll let you talk about it. I love this album from start to finish. Go ahead.
So, Master of Puppets. The Black Album broke Metallica to the mainstream 5 years later, but Master of Puppets was where they became king of thrash metal. The epic length of the songs are something actually really new for metal, and they're really at this point at the apex of their creativity. That being said, I'm more of a fan of the Black Album just because I think it's more thought through. But Master of Puppet is like raw energy. Like if you need raw energy in your life, Master of Puppet is it.
When I saw this list, I actually thought the Black Album was on there. And
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes those listed as a masterpiece. Well, really? What about Abbey Road?
Well, Abbey Road is a masterpiece.
No, but you know what I mean? Instead of
Revolver, yeah.
Metallica, okay, could I argue? Well, I could even argue Ride the Lightning.
No, exactly, yeah.
There's a lot of them. And again, Metallica became relevant again, thanks to Netflix due to Stranger Things. And
Hey, talk to Kate Bush.
yeah, and
Good
this is
Lord.
great because you know what? Metallica, they're getting new fans. They're getting younger fans. The new generation's learning about Metallica, and I'm so happy that today's generation is learning about the good stuff that I grew up to, and even stuff that Ian grew up to, because there's a bit of an age difference between the both of us.
There's actually not that much, but let that go.
And then there's another album here that Ian, I'm sure, has, which is Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle.
Fly Like an Eagle is a great album. Okay, Steve Miller's career, which he milks to this day, is based on 2 albums, and this is one of them. And
Greatest Hits is his other.
it sure is an abracadabra. Yeah.
Abracadabra.
No, this is an incredible album.
I
from
want to
beginning
reach
to
out
end.
and grab you.
I know, the poor guy.
Say that one in French.
No, I'm not. Because we're going to get letters.
We want letters. This one here, Ian, I know you have. Joni Mitchell, Blue.
Joni Mitchell Blue is a great. Hey, listen, we just spoke about this. I like Court and Spark. It's my favorite Mitchell album. This is number 2. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll let it go.
All right. The next one is The Monkees. Ian, The Monkees.
Oh, the Monkees. One of my sisters bought this pretty well when it came out. I like Monkey Headquarters a bit better. But they had 2 strong albums in a row. And no, I don't really care what you think about the Prefab 4. I love the Monkees.
The Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. I argued with the 2 of you to take this off the list, and you outmuscled me, and here we are talking
Nights
about
in
it.
White Satin.
That's why you have a black eye. I was wondering.
Well, you know. I don't know.
It's a good album. In fact, it's in between rocky, proggy, folky. I don't know what it is.
It was one of my dad's favorite albums, and he had good
good
taste, so I'm leaving it in.
Good for you.
This one here, where Wheeler thought Van Halen was very vile human being, is actually he meant Van Morrison.
Because there's so many similarities between Van Halen and Van Morrison.
It's all in the van, man.
Yeah.
So this is Astral Weeks. Ian is
yes.
I thought Moondance would have been his better album.
I think it is. I think it's the Revolver thing in Abbey Road. I think the real aficionados go for Astral Weeks, whereas I think Moondance is stronger. IMHO.
This one here, Motley Crue, shout, shout, shout at the devil. It's a very good album. I love this album. It's actually their second album. And at the end of the day, this is where Motley Crue started becoming into their own. And this is where people started realizing, saying, okay, Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Mick Mars, and Tommy Lee, you guys are for real. You guys are not just a flash in the pan. You're going to be around for a long time.
True.
And they are. They're still going. They're relevant again. Here they are. They're touring. Yeah, okay, Vince Neil's lost a bit of his voice, but at the end of the day, he's still going. Give the guy credit. Could I doubt anybody for still performing? No, I can't.
Although when you look at the cover of this album, you understand why there was a hole in the ozone layer in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, with all the hairspray on there.
Yeah.
But they look totally different now. Holy cow. Holy diver.
Oh, yeah. Holy diver.
Holy diver. Wheels, you want to talk about Tête du Moteur?
Tête du Moteur, Motorhead's Ace of Spades. Basically, this is the album that made them. They never really wavered from their core sound through their entire career. So if you have this fourth album, which was pretty much their best, you have every Motorhead album you need in your collection.
Well put.
But I mean, no, I'm teasing somewhat. But Ace of Spades is one of those. If you like metal, you need in your collection.
Next one is Nirvana Nevermind. I have this one 6 times. I'm not lying. I have it 3 times on vinyl, the other time on CD. At the end of the day, this is a iconic album. It is a pulp culture for my generation and Wheels' generation. 1991, this is the first album of David Grohl being on there as their drummer. And from start to finish, it is probably one of the best albums out there, track to track. I love this album. We're going to have to do another Desert Island Disc show, and this one will definitely be on my list of things to bring.
That little baby in the front grew up to sue the band. There you go.
The next one we have here is Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. Take it away, Wheels.
So basically, this is Ozzy's middle finger to his old band, Black Sabbath. This is to show that, frankly, he was in control of his future. That being said, at that time, it was a really big gamble.
No, Sharon's in control of his future.
Yeah. But that being said, I mean, this album was composed in a haze of drug and alcohol. His personal life was spinning out of control.
It just shows you, right, that sometimes, I hate to say it, folks, it can make great music. And,
yeah. But although it does help that Randy Rhoads was on this album.
Oh, wow. He was phenomenal. We should do a little thing about Randy Rhoads someday, about how good he was.
We could.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. You listen to an isolated solo, you say, come on.
Gone too soon, man.
Oh, yeah.
Way
Gone
too soon.
Yeah. Next album, Pearl Jam 10. By far, probably one of their best albums. I like this album from start to finish. Is the song Once that got them off this album, that just got them known. This is the song that Eddie Vedder auditioned for, and off it went. So as the story goes, Mike McCready is the brains behind Pearl Jam, and they needed a singer, and lo and behold, boom, Eddie Vedder fell into their lap, and here they go. Personally, I think Pearl Jam should have stopped at album number 3, which is Vitology, because the rest to me is irrelevant. And all you Pearl Jam fans out there, sorry, first 3 albums, that's it. Just tour. You don't need anything else.
You got one in you, so.
So they had 3 in them, and the rest, The next one that we have here on the list is Wheels' favorite album, which is Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon.
So what's really fascinating about this is it's their 7th album. Like most bands don't have 1 or 2. It's their 7th album. It made them stars in 73. Which is just puzzling. It goes to show there was something in the water back in 73 because it's borderline experimental. The band became one of the biggest in the world with this, and time hasn't really dimmed the album's appeal. I think money's on every soundtrack of every movie at least once a year.
It's true.
So it's a great album to have in your collection.
Next one, Ian, The Police, Synchronicity. Thoughts?
Yes, the Synchronicity, I never really enjoyed The Police, but I'm just going to comment on that. Synchronicity was on everyone's turntable when it came out. It just was. And I'm going to take it on the evidence who compiled this list that it's their best album.
Next one, Queen and Night at the Opera. Well, from start to finish.
There's no debate on it.
There's no debate.
It's a masterpiece.
This is actually, I think, the one that also has Roger Taylor's song with his car.
Oh, yeah. What's the goofy title of it again?
Oh, my God.
I love my car.
I love my car. You know?
And was it also the name of a Marx Brothers comedy from the 30s?
No, it wasn't. They had stuff like Duck Soup, Night at the Opera. Night at the Opera, yeah.
Rainbow Rising. This is actually a supergroup with Richie Blackmore and was it
Ronnie James?
Ronnie James. Dio.
I mean, this is everybody knows Rainbow. This is it was a supergroup that didn't last long.
You got to do it with the microphone in your hand.
Exactly.
He's doing the devil things with his finger.
Yeah. So if you have a track like Stargazer on something like that, it just blows your system and your mind.
Yeah.
Next one, we have the Ramones. Ian, you wanted to talk about the Ramones debut album?
Were, in the previous shows, I've spoken about the Ramones, and they were game changers, and they're extremely influential, and incredibly, a few of them are actually passed away. The band doesn't seem to be that far away in time, but we're talking about the early 70s here, mid-70s rather.
And they're very hideous looking on this cover, Ian.
They never,
not just on the cover.
They weren't a big hair band, no.
Next album, Ian, I'm going to leave this in your hands. Transformer by Lou Reed.
Yeah, people say this is his single best album, Transformer. I'm okay with that. Yeah, all right. I can't think of a better Lou Reed album end to end than Transformer. I'll go with it.
All right, I'll let you take this one, and then I'll take the next one, and Wheels will take the one after. Exile on Main Street by the Stones.
Yeah, this is, I think, if I'm right, 72, and this was recorded in a haze of illegal drugs in France, southern France. It should not have worked. I'm not going to say every song is great, like Ventilator Blues or something, but it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing album. Keith Richards was at his riff best. He used to call Keith Richards the walking riff. This is an amazing album just for that.
Was this the one that they wrote in a chateau in France to avoid paying taxes in England?
Yeah, and then they got a whole bunch of trouble.
Oh.
Yeah. in France.
The next one is Living on a Lighted Stage. Rush, Moving Pictures. I have to give this one justice because it is, in my view, probably their best album. And it has songs like Limelight and Tom Sawyer, and I like the airport quote of Toronto of YYZ, which I thought was pretty funny that they have that on that album. So Canadian. You know?
I know, it just reeks Canadian.
It just reeks Canadian, but
like
hey.
Holy Diver. Get off my foot, you.
Holy Diver. That's where James Dio went to Newfoundland and he got inspired by it.
So our next one is Santana Abraxas, their second album, which had probably his greatest lineup.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And everything's bigger and falls together more effortlessly. The mix of vocal and instrument just gets you, and it's probably his most reissued
it
LP.
is. It's such a cool cover, too. Everyone loved the cover.
Next one, Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien. I actually bought this album.
Really?
And I was waiting for him to have vocals in his album. There's nothing.
He's the Jeff Beck type guy. You probably wouldn't want to hear him sing.
So that's it? It's just guitar?
He's an instrumentalist.
So what is, in your opinion, so special about this album?
It's kind of like Jeff Beck's Blow by Blow or Beckola. It's just a strong album, nice compositions, good production.
Plus, for comic nerds, it has the Silver Surfer on the cover.
I know. Who knows the Silver Surfer anymore?
All right. And the next one, we got Soundgarden, which is Super Unknown. And it has to be probably one of the best albums that Soundgarden has, especially with Black Hole Sun on there. This album here, till this day, is a pop culture icon for those of us that grew up in the 90s. Everywhere you went in the 90s, this album was there, especially in the mid-90s.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I'll go on record saying Kim Thayil is probably a very underrated guitarist. He, in my opinion, probably was responsible for a good portion of the music lyrics on a lot of Soundgarden albums and tracks that we all love and know. And just so you know, he's got a PhD, so that's something smart. So
and to me, this is like the closest thing to a Beatles album we got in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Next one is Born to Run. I have this one. Ian?
I think it's... okay, here's my proviso. I'm not a Springsteen fan, but this is his best album, in my opinion. This album made Bruce Springsteen, and it made his whole streetwise New Jersey guy persona, blue-collar persona.
You're a big fan of Clarence Clemens.
Good sax player.
Ringo Starr, Ringo. I actually have this album, and it's his they said it's his third solo album. So he had a little bit of help on George Harrison on this one to give him a number one hit. So again, here we go again. You always have someone helping out Ringo trying to succeed. So it is a good album.
It is good. It's strong. It's fun. Ringo's fun.
And it's I don't know. I think people, if you have a chance, get it.
Yeah,
sure.
This is Ringo Barbara Bach, the years.
No, I think it's pre-Barbara.
Oh, that's pre-Barbara.
Yeah,
okay.
he met her during the production of the wonderful movie Caveman.
Oh, Lord.
Good Lord.
Steely Dan Aja.
Hey, that launched the Steely Dan sound, which, believe me, was so influential. Back then, if you wanted to test your hi-fi, there's two albums to listen to with either that or George Benson's Breezin'.
Although even on a really bad system, this sounds good.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
Next one is Rod Stewart's Every Picture Tells a Story. Listen, pound for pound, this has to be his best album.
It's a great album. This is before he went off the rails in disco. He did a good job in this album. It's a really earthy album. Because
they always say there's 4 albums that he, Gasoline Alley is another one. This one, Atlantic Crossing?
And he started to go off the rails.
And what about Blondes Have More Fun?
Oh, stop it! He just wanted to make money, and he did.
Tons.
What's up next?
Next we got on the list is Toto 4, and this is the one that Meet You All the Way, Rosanna. So Toto 4 is a good album. I actually like this album. It has Africa, and it has also what do you call it there? Rosanna. One of their better albums. but not as good as one that I forgot to mention, Supertramp, Breakfast in America.
There you go.
Now, we've had debates on this. You and my father both agree that Crime of the Century is their best album.
I think so.
I, on the other spectrum, feel that Breakfast in America is probably their better album, but I do like Crime of the Century also. And I think the reason why I like Breakfast in America is this is where I think Roger Hodgson took control.
Yeah, more control.
And I like this album.
We're getting near the end here, folks.
Next one is T-Rex Electric Warrior.
Wow, this is a great album. This is Glam by Mark Bolan, really before David Bowie took off with it, with the completely eccentric costumes and all this Slade and those kind of bands. This is actually a good album, and it shows you, whatever's said, and I know Mark Bolan gets knocked a lot, that he could write some great songs. And of course, the big hit on here is Bang It Gone.
And you have to admire the fact this is their 6th attempt. Like they had really.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they had like a folky sound before and
Yeah,
never
I
worked.
know. Tornosaurus. They changed the name, everything.
Twisted Sister Stay Hungry is their best album. Well, let's be realistically, it's got the 2 good songs, I Wanna Rock and We're Not Gonna Take It. So this is all I got from them. And nothing. They also put out a Christmas album too.
Yes, they
I
did.
know.
And the Christmas album is basically the musical lyrics of this freaking album.
I think D. Snyder's kind of limited, but anyway.
But I don't think he ever pretended that he was anything
Yeah,
more than
you're
that.
right.
And his cousin is
His name is Tom Snyder.
no, not Fred Schneider from the B-52s.
Okay, yeah.
Next album, yes, by far probably one of my favorite albums. Ian, you might say yay or
What's the
nay.
album?
The Joshua Tree by U2.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's probably overall their best album, although I don't mind Tongue Baby.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Edge, which is his legal name on his passport, is using interesting pedals. He's the ultimate pedal user.
You don't like Achtung Baby?
No,
I
you
like
like
Achtung.
it.
Oh yeah,
I
Achtung Baby is a good album.
I think it's
yeah.
their best
Yeah.
album. I'm not being joking. I'm being serious.
I agree because I think the Joshua Tree and Achtung Baby are probably the 2. Boy was good, or War. They had War because they had 2 of them. Boy,
Yeah, War was huge.
yeah. So I like them. This album, to me, I'll go on record saying it again. This solidified them to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
That made it to them. The next one, Van Halen debut album. Listen, you can't go wrong with this. Okay, from David Lee Roth's Horn Dog asides to Eddie Van Halen's sizzling guitar pyrotechnics, this kicked off a whole new era of hard rock by far.
True.
Oh, yeah, and you cannot not like this album.
It's a very good album. Stevie Ray Vaughan, who wants to take on Texas Flood, Ian or Wheels?
I can if you want.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So this is his first album, and for many, it's his best. A combination of Hendrix-style guitar and slippery blues.
You often hear Texas Flood referenced as his best.
Exactly,
You
yeah.
just do.
A lot of people say he's not all that original. This is rock. We're not talking about being really original.
Well put.
He's a great technician.
Amazing. The next up is the Velvet Underground and Nico. Okay, this goes back to the '60s. Andy Warhol did the famous Banana cover. It's an amazing album. 1967. I'm reading the notes here. Came up. This album is great. Nico was an interesting character. She was in some Fellini flicks. Like she was I think she's a German woman, the late Nico. And really spooky vocals. One of these singers that didn't really hold key, but there's a smoky atmosphere to her voice. And then, of course, in the other half of it, you got Lou Reed. Perfect counterbalance.
Next one is the Who's Next.
My favorite Who album.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just every song is strong. It's a great album. Who's next?
Wheels, you're up next with Yes. Close to the Edge.
Yes, sir. So this is like the ultimate prog album. It has 3 songs that are all 9 minutes and up. Plus 2 of those tracks are split into 4 movements each. So if you want pretentious rock, yes, this is the album for you.
For it.
And they don't apologize for it. So you have amazing cuts like Close to the Edge, and You and I, and Siberian Katru, and that's it. And they're all good.
Well, so is Neil Young's After the Gold Rush. As listeners of this podcast know, I'm not a huge Mr. Young fan. This album is so strong. The trivia there, it was composed for a film, After the Gold Rush, that never took place. So that's why you have little snippets of songs and stuff. But it's just a really strong album. I think it's Neil Young's best album, followed by Harvest.
And to top it off, the last album on this list is ZZ Top's Tres Hombres. Sure, at the time, it probably was their best album, but then when they brought out Eliminator, that just changed the whole dynamics.
That was their new image, too.
That was their new image. With Lagrange is their biggest hit. They're a blues-driven band with rock licks. So at the end of the day, yes, it is a good album. It's probably one you could have in your collection to listen to your turntable. But if you're asking my personal opinion, I would go with Eliminator.
So would I.
Yeah. And
does that bring us to an end?
that brings it to a close, ladies and gentlemen.
The sun is shining.
The sun is shining, and
there ain't a cloud in sight.
it's probably time for some food.
Let's go down to the pool. I can see the waiters starting to serve down by the pool here at the beautiful, I better not give the name of the hotel in Las Vegas, but the food comes with the rooms, guys. So we really should do our duty.
So, signing off, I'm Kennedy.
I'm Wheeler.
And I'm Dr. Clarke. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful evening.
Take care.
Bye-bye.